If you have any questions, I'm here.
Sequel.
Oh, good question.
We hope so. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to do a TV show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That
Or,
would be good.
Buffy meets the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah. I would
Dr.
like
Quinn,
that.
Medicine, Bruja.
I would absolutely watch this.
Dr. Quinn, Medicine, Bruja.
We'll see if people like it.
That'd be awesome.
We'd like to do it. We did this on our own, low budget, but there's lots more demons in the Red Book. Where that came from.
right. I was even thinking, like, it just seems to me like almost everybody outside this little pocket of the world could be infected. I like that open-ended question of that.
Was this based on like a true a story, or was it based on just a screenplay? Or
Yeah, Marcos, I've been making movies with him since the mid-90s. A friend of mine, he is from Puerto Rico. He was raised like super Catholic, but then like one day his mom told him this crazy-ass story about like coming downstairs when she was a little girl and heard some weird sounds, and her dad was in a metal wash basin and they were hitting him with chicken feathers and stuff and chanting, and
Oh, wow.
scared the shit out of her. I guess he had been like unfaithful or something, and they were trying to, and I think there were like some women that were angry at him, or so I don't know. It was strange. But it like blew his mind when he heard that, because he was raised kind of the opposite, no witchcraft or any of that stuff.
Huh.
So he's been thinking about it for a long time, that we started researching lots of different practices and stuff like that, and the story just kind of evolved. Just started adding stuff, but kind of that whole flashback thing with her mother and the baby Christina was all just kind of a heightened version of his mom's story.
What went into that scene with Miranda floating up
Yeah.
like she did?
Yeah.
A lot. Mallory, who I told you about, who is she's one of many zombies probably on Fear the Walking Dead. She helped us choreograph that scene. It's a lot of harnesses, wire work. There's holes in all of her clothes. We had to do a lot of digital painting and stuff like that to get it out. Michelle, who plays the mom in the flashbacks, is also the stunt double for Miranda in those scenes. So, like, when we're behind her back, a lot of those shots are Michelle, because if you're not trained for it, you can't be upside down very long. Like, your head fills with blood, and she's already like screaming and crying, which already makes your blood rush to your head.
Yeah.
And but she did, all the frontal shots were all Andrea. But it was super challenging, because it's already hard enough to do a scene like that, and then like, okay, now you're gonna be upside down. But she was super game to do it. It was like the one time that Bridget didn't have to get tortured in the whole movie. She spent 5 weeks having her ass handed to her. So.
was that the most technically difficult scene to shoot?
No. I mean, the psychic surgery was pretty crazy, because we built like a bed where Bridget was like at a 45-degree angle, and then we have like a prosthetic body here, and then we have people underneath the bed with the snakes, and people on top, and people squirting blood, and that one was really like pretty intense. The first snake scene was pretty cool, because we kind of planned the way we wanted to make the scene, and then the way that I figured I'd have to make the scene once the snake showed up and like did whatever they wanted. Because I'd like drawn the whole scene out, and then we'd actually shot it with like our first AD and rubber snakes with like a cell phone, and we'd done a ton of work planning every single shot, and fully prepared for the snakes to not behave, and they were great. That scene was awesome for me, because I just got to sit back and watch. Whereas Bridget was like, we had those ropes on her, and our prop guy made special ones that had like Velcro, like so she could rip out. And she didn't want them. She made him get rid of them. She was like, no, I want you to tie me up for real, because if I can get out, I won't be scared. So so she was really tied up on that floor for like 8 hours on a hard concrete floor with snakes crawling all over her and stuff. And a very large man who's the snake handler, like squatting around her and poking the snakes. Weird scene.
Don't do that.
Weird scene. Yeah, it was cool. That one showed up with you guys saw that the eye was frosted because he was,
Yeah.
or she, I think it was a girl snake. She had just started molting that night, and the guy was like really apologetic. He was like, "This is my best snake. I'm sorry." She started molting. Like all of her skin's fine, but her eyes are the first to go. And I was like, "That's the best news I've ever heard." Get that snake on camera right now. I couldn't have paid you enough to get a white-eyed snake.
It almost serves as almost like a what if mechanic. Like, oh, is that related to the lady that we just saw? It's like, so that's what I was thinking. That's what the audience is probably thinking at the time.
That's the stuff you gotta, you can plan for lots of stuff, but then you gotta just be ready for like random
Happy
luck,
accidents.
and be like, let's do it. Take it.
Take it.
Nobody knows. Nobody's got to know that we didn't spend $1 million on a white-eyed snake.
Well, we know now, but put it on the DL.
A small circle.
It was $-. It was awesome.
So is everybody actually drinking the goat milk on set?
It was almond milk.
Yeah.
Bridget's lactose intolerant or something, so we had
Oh.
fake. But then, like, Sal
Is
like,
almond intolerant?
The almond milk bothered him. So, like, every time any one of them drank, like, their stomachs would just, like, you could hear it because they had the lavalier mics on, and they had to, like, edit out all their stomachs gurgling in between.
Well, that's awesome. So you had lavalier mics on them for certain scenes or all scenes, or those are the little pin mics, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, we usually double up, right? So, I mean, if you can get away with it, we usually have a radio pack, and then we boom it. The boom usually sounds better, but it's nice to have two options when you get into post in case something
I can relate to the
terrible
milk
happens.
conundrum. Coconut milk works well for future reference.
Coconut? Oh, yeah. So we had to also, like, put all chunks of nasty stuff in it and, food coloring and things so it looked
yellowy,
less well preserved, non-pasteurized.
Yeah.
raw.
Fresh goat milk by the jug.
I think chunks of things is going to be in my nightmares tonight, so thank you.
That's good. We just tried to cram in one phobia for every person.
That's what I was noticing. The hair
You don't
got
like
me.
snakes? Good. You don't like puke?
Oh,
Great.
the hair.
Body horror? Gotcha.
Yeah, the hair was it.
Bats. I mean, people they're like, I hate caves. Like, really? I didn't know that was a separate phobia.
Wow, fear of caves.
Claustrophobia, maybe?
Yeah,
Oh, they hate cave.
Spelunkophobia.
that cave was.
I'm not
intense.
walking too far into a cave, but I'll hang out by the opening.
Maybe it's guanophobia.
Yeah, there was.
Ooh.
I would guess 100,000 bats minimum in that.
Awesome.
We couldn't even hear each other talk. Like if we were 6 feet apart.
That's so cool.
Wow.
And there was rushing water because it had rained, and then there was also the bats were so loud.
I would dig that. That would be awesome. Cool.
Where did you film?
Those are the Camui caves in Puerto Rico. We weren't allowed to take our actors out of the country because we were such a low-budget movie that SAG wouldn't allow us to travel. So I think they need enough money that they could send a rep to show up on set unannounced. So ironically, we had to travel twice as far to get to Puerto Rico than where we wanted to go.
And this is all filmed through COVID too, so there's that was the element.
Well, actually, we wrapped 2 days before LA locked down. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
We were wearing masks the whole time because it was impossible to breathe on that set because of all the old plants and stuff that were in there. So we just kept wearing masks for the next 2 years. The post was all COVID.
Right.
So I sat in this room right here. Actually, I did most of the VFX and I did all the color correction and part of the editing and all that stuff. Just did it from home. We had a nice suite set up in Burbank. It just sat there empty for the last year and a half.
With yourself.
Where did you want to film?
We wanted to shoot in Guatemala because one of our producers is from Guatemala, and that's actually closer latitudinally. It's closer to that part of Veracruz than anywhere that's reasonable to get to in Mexico. And I've spent a lot of time in Belize, which is right there also. I had drawn the caves and I knew what I wanted it to look like. So we had to cancel that. We'd actually already found the place we were going to shoot, and we were ready to do it. And halfway through filming the movie, when we found out we couldn't go there, so then we had to scramble and find a new place, try to make it edit, with the stuff, because we shot the rest of it in Burbank. 23 days of production was here in LA, and then 2 days basically in Puerto Rico.
Oh wow. I was gonna ask you that question.
2 days in Puerto Rico? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, we were there for a week, but it was 2 days
Yeah.
of filming.
No.
2 days well spent.
Did you know ahead of time exactly who you wanted to cast?
No, it was all open call casting, and Bridget was after the 11th hour, like 2 a.m. Like, because we actually pushed the filming twice because we couldn't find the person who made sense to play that role. And somehow she showed up to like some last audition that we were doing, and kind of blew us away. So we were super excited to get in. That was before she was cast on
Fear.
Dead, I think.
Fear.
Yeah.
Because we're going to show this to her later. What was it about her audition that kind of, was there a particular moment or thing that she did that is like, yes?
That character was so, and you know it when you read it, but you don't realize it till you see people try to do it. Like, it was just very multifaceted and kind of contradictory. You know, there's a yin and yang to her. So she had to be like physically strong and tough, you know, but also have this like super emotional kind of hidden underlying damage, and she's also kind of snarky and sensitive. Like, it was a lot of stuff, and people could come in and nail 3 out of 4 scenes, and then the 4th one you're like, I don't buy that, you know. And then someone else would come in and nail 3 other scenes, but not the first one, and you're like, eh. So she came in and killed it with all the stuff that she had prepped, and then I was like, can you do this scene too? And it was like, she's like, and she almost had a heart attack, I think, because she's super like prepared, like she does her homework, you know, and to be like, hey, pop quiz, hot shot. That almost broke her mind, but she left the room for 5 minutes and kind of read it through, and I was like, don't worry, like, you can read off the page, I don't care, like, I just want to see this one other scene. And she was amazing. It was me and like the writer and then 3 or 4 producers, and we were all kind of voting every time, and we could get like all but 1 or 2 people on board. Finally, we had someone that like there was no questions asked across the board. But then we started shooting like less than a week later, maybe.
Wow. Jumping into
Ish. I mean, well, you know, we found her on like a Thursday or Friday, made an offer, had to deal with agents and managers and all that
Paperwork,
stuff
yeah.
for a couple days. So by the time that was like done, I think it was, like a Wednesday, and we were shooting Monday or Tuesday of the next week. I had done tons of prep by myself and with the cinematographer and stunt people, all kinds of people, like, but not with her. So it was a real like hit the ground running, get to know each other
real fast.
Figure out what each other's languages are, you know, when it comes to acting and blocking and stuff. So it worked out really well, but we had no idea if it would or not.
She was so good.
Yeah, she's pretty special. Hopefully other people will realize that as well.
Had you seen her final scene on Fear the Walking Dead?
I still haven't watched it because I'm a like completionist. And she starts on like season 5 or whatever, and I'm like, because we were also like deep in post, and I was like, I kind of didn't want to like alter what we were crafting.
I don't blame you.
Right,
And
right.
and then I'm like, how many seasons are there of the first Walking Dead?
They're on 11 now.
I think I made it like 3 or 4 into that. So I'm like, do I have to finish all of that before I can even start Fear? And then,
No.
Most people say no
or
now.
can I
No.
pick up Fear somewhere else? But
You can start Fear on season 4 and watch and be absolutely fine.
okay, good. Because I follow her so much and all the like press and tweets and stuff.
I second that.
I know the whole arc of her thing, and I'm kind of disappointed that I
Kind of wishing I did do that in the first
Yeah.
place.
But yeah, I kind of can't wait for you to see the things that she ends up doing, because
Yeah.
it really is exemplary of what we see in this film too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm jealous. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to watch other people like hiring her to do stuff. I want her to be famous, and be very successful, but I don't want to be like, hey, you guys can't make movies. Someone's gonna do it.
If something something happens, you're gonna get credited for this, because honestly, it's the hop, skip, and jump effect. You're the skip, and then
Yeah.
trajectory.
Well, I mean,
takeoff.
she's in Star Wars, and she's in
Oh,
plenty
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
bigger
Yep,
stuff
yep,
than
yep.
than us.
The hop started before that. Yeah. Okay. There you go.
She's got new Star Wars and old Star Wars and Walking Dead. So it's exciting.
Oh yeah, you're the jump. Oh, so that's a perfect spot for you. Yeah.
Right in there, man.
Hop, skip, and then jump. Where did you get your start too? Because I really love the color grading, the editing, the transitions, and actually even like some of the sound, the Foley was
Yeah.
just brilliant.
Listen to it in Atmos when you aren't streaming it like this. Yeah, the
Shoot.
sound design is great. The music's amazing. We're releasing the album on vinyl actually pretty soon.
Oh, yay.
Oh,
Yeah,
that sounds
so
perfect.
I went to film school in the 90s, and I've been out here in Hollywood doing commercials, and I own a production company. We do a lot of marketing for the studios and produce a lot of the Muppets content.
Right.
Oh, cool.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, yeah.
I produce and direct a lot of Muppet stuff, so everything I do always has a puppet or a cartoon or something, something fake. So we're always making weird stuff, and I have a lot of post background. I ended up doing most of the VFX in the movie, and just because I had nothing but time almost, during COVID, so I taught myself some stuff, and had a 3D model and animate demons and stuff. So taming smoke digitally is surprisingly difficult.
Stannis.
She's referring to Stannis Baratheon from
Stannis
Game of
Baratheon.
Thrones.
Is there smoke coming from Stannis?
There's a
Stannis is the smoke.
It is the
Smoke.
smoke.
Yeah.
demon
Yeah.
sort
The
of thing.
smoke.
I'm not gonna say where it's coming from.
It was easier than that.
Were any of the demons at all puppetry, or was that all VFX or practical?
Yeah, we had a real
Actors.
demon, but it wasn't like super articulate. That would have cost us too much, especially because we built it like the body comes like off his head. So, but we had a guy, Weston, was wearing a suit and then had the demon head on him. So he was really there to like wrestle with them, and for us, a lot of the shots are just completely him. But then the face I recreated digitally, and
It was
made
very
it
convincing
articulate.
too. Yeah, I had like none of that uncanny valley
Oh, good.
feeling towards that. Yeah,
I'll just quit while I'm ahead.
that was why I asked the question.
My one demon and get out. I mean, the lighting helps. It's all lighting.
Was that like eyes on the teeth?
Yeah. I
Jewel. Like gold and turquoise, and all of the demon and all the stuff is kind of based on like archaeological Aztec and Mayan, pre-Columbian stuff. They find like in the tombs, they drilled into their teeth, the the princes or whatever, and they find them still intact. Sometimes they just have holes and they look horrifying. I mean, because how did they do that? Like there was no anesthesia or anything. So
Well, there's another phobia right there.
that's pretty
Yeah.
rough. And then they also they find like skulls, especially babies. Like they would elongate their skulls.
Oh yeah, I've read about
I've
that.
read about
They
that.
would put boards in. It would make them look. People thought it was alien skulls when they
Yeah.
first
Like,
found them. They
based
thought they were
his-
alien skulls.
We based his head on that. Like you can see it here. Like you see the shape.
Yeah.
Right there.
Like
So we kind
alien.
of like the idea that, or all the things that they were doing in the culture, maybe they weren't made up. They really had seen this demon in a cave. Like there was like headdresses of head priests and stuff, and it has like hands, just like on the face here. We don't know why, but we did that, like with the face paint on his face and stuff like that. Imagining that all these religions were based on an actual experience some prophet had somewhere.
In the captions, it was saying that they were speaking Nauh.
Yeah, Nahuatl. It's a pre-Columbian, ancient Mexican language that is kind of in that region there. It's actually one of the biggest languages that you haven't heard of. There's not many people who speak it. We had to find somebody who could like help us translate it, and then he would record the way he would pronounce it, but then we'd meet other people who know the language, or supposedly, and they say it completely differently. But Andrea like learned that whole speech. That's really her voice. We just kind of altered the sound of it. We didn't like dub over it. So the whole thing when she's talking in the demon voice is all her. Pretty impressive stuff. It's not an easy language.
It didn't sound like it was.
Right.
But a lot of those like words that you see with like X's and stuff like that, like axolotl, those little salamanders or whatever they are and stuff like that, a lot of those words kind of come from the Nahuatl language.
Yeah.
Where can we get one of those t-shirts?
They are pretty rad.
TheOldWaysMovie.com. We have them.
Oh.
And mugs.
And who designed said T-shirt?
This LA Mexican American artist Felipe Flores. Check him out on Instagram. Felipe Flores Comics. We have a partnership with this comedy network, and we've done an album for Al Madrigal.
Oh yeah,
He
the
had
comedian,
hired,
right?
Yeah, so he's one of our partners. So he had Felipe do his album art, and we're like, this is amazing. We wanted to kind of be reminiscent of the old The Tales from the Crypt comic books and stuff like that.
It was very eye-catching. Very bright.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We thought it was just like a fun poster for our premiere in Sitges in Spain. But then Netflix bought the movie, and they don't really like do posters and stuff. So we're like, we like that. Okay,
There you go.
there you go. I always assumed they would do like
A thing for it.
you know, whoever distributed the movie would do like a traditional blue photograph of somebody with an upside down cross or something.
Well, sometimes they end up doing something afterwards, like, oh, if it catches on fire, it stays on.
You
but
got to
sometimes
see
do their own thing.
the art for the record is awesome. It looks
Oh,
like
wow.
a heavy metal album.
Also by Felipe, right? Or-
No, completely
Oh.
different. Some artist in Europe, because it's an English record company called Burning Witches,
Burning Brujas.
which is appropriate. Yeah, we actually followed them on Instagram just because we liked their name, and they reached out and they were like, "You guys, is someone doing your album?" We're like, "No."
Awesome.
So yeah, they got a really cool art. It's more like a traditional art, but it's like loose with the heart on fire in her hand. It's really cool.
Cool. Oh, that's cool.
Excited about
Sounds
that.
awesome.
It's the only reason to do a movie is to get the record. Put it on the
Well,
wall.
maybe you guys can correct me if you know, but was it set in a city that was definitive, or was it supposed to be ambiguous?
Well, it's outside of a city called Catemaco, which is actually the Brujo, probably capital of the world. Which originally was written, like the early drafts were just kind of like South America, or Central American or Latin American jungle. It was fairly ambiguous, and then as we started refining more and more and more, we were like, okay, let's find out like what are the influences we want. We kind of started from that because we had this like treasure trove of stuff that we wanted to incorporate. So we found the like one place on the map that had like Aztec and Mayan and Afro-Caribbean and post-Columbian and all that stuff. And then we found out there was this town right there called Catemaco that is like famous for Brujas and Brujos. So we're like, well, there we go. This is where we're going. You just go down enough rabbit holes and you find what you want to do. Which originally was, supposed to be kind of like Puerto Rico, where Marcos is from. But as we got more into it, it just didn't seem that realistic that you could just be fully in the middle of nowhere in such a small island. So we moved it over to the mainland there.
Are there any particular movies that lent inspiration or ideas to this movie? Like anything you particularly drew on?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. It's just like little snippets of stuff, I mean, we definitely made sure we knew our exorcism movies well, and tried to kind of like zig where they zagged as much as possible. But I'm not like straight down the middle horror guy. I kind of like all world building stuff. There's a lot of like Lord of the Rings for me in there. I mean, little things where she wolfs out at the beginning, where the mom, her teeth do that thing. That's straight up Lord of the Rings.
Bilbo.
Oh yeah.
Bilbo.
There was another like scene that got cut out between the hair vomit and when she asked her if she wants milk. There was like this full-on Balrog kind of scene. That,
You shall not pass.
Yeah.
But what about second goat milk?
Yeah, lots of
The hair bomb.
Or second chug.
Elevensies.
Second goat chug.
Yeah, that movie is more influential on me than I ever realized. The
Sure,
Bilbo
yeah.
shot. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, the Bilbo shot. It's just like, it's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
So I'm like loading it on my phone. Like, look, this is where you're going.
Guys,
It's Bilbo.
and that's what I kind of like the most. It was sudden, it was fierce, and then it was over before you knew it, sort of. It stays with you, because you're like, did I just see that? And then the rest of it is hero's journey, kind of,
And then we show it to you 6 more times.
Yeah, but in a different way.
Those people, we got our money's worth on that, David. That was one day of shooting. That's in the whole movie.
Wow. Yeah, when you think about it.
Oh, nice. We're officially popular on Netflix now. I just got
Yes! What? Yes!
We get to.
I've only seen it with an audience 3 times because of COVID, and it's been like tiny. We're so spread out, I can't even tell if people like it or not. We usually don't have cameras aimed right at their faces, so pretty excited.
If nobody has any more questions, I feel like we should let Christopher go.
Get that milk.
Yeah.
I see Aiden.
give her-
Aiden, you have a question. I'm kidding. I don't know. I'm just putting you on the spot.
Dane's like, no!
Don't look at me.
Get out of here.
Just thank you so much for being here,
Yes.
Chris.
Thank you for
Thank you so
making
much, Christopher.
Awesome.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks.
And
for
your
giving
timing
me
seems to be perfect all around.
Right?
that. We make these movies for you guys, so glad you
We
exist.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for showing up.
Thank you for giving us your time
Yes.
and
Yeah.
talking to us after. I appreciate that so
For
much.
sure, I do. Yeah, it's fun, man. I like it. Well, enjoy. I hope the next season of Walking Dead doesn't let you down.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. And to your continued success. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Christopher.
Yes.
We'll be watching for the TV show.
I know.
Yeah.
Write letters to
Yes.
Who do we
Such a
write?
campaign.
Anyway, good luck, and so far so good. I think being
Yeah.
a popular movie on Netflix is no small
Yes.
thing. Indeed.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting. Well, thanks again,
Yeah.
guys.
Thank you so much.
Good
Bye.
night.
Have a great night.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Bye.
Oh my god, stop. I'm so embarrassed for you right now.